So today we're going to be talking about my love for anime and manga. And I know a lot of you guys are out there saying, wow, this dude loves a lot of stuff. Like the past couple of videos, he's just been talking about the kinds of things that he loves. It's like nothing different. It's just he loves this, he loves that. The only reason why I'm doing that is just mainly so you guys get to know who I am as a person, so you guys know the kind of things that I'm into. That's why I'm putting videos out like that. So you guys also expect, what to see on this channel, because I'm not going to just be focusing on like one thing on this channel. I'm going to be focusing on a variety of things on this channel because I want you guys to get to know me more. And I also want to see if, any audience members on this channel happen to be, big fans of the things I talk about as well. That's the whole fun thing about this is like, interacting with your audience, seeing what you and your audience have in common, stuff like that. And that's another reason why, I'm going to enjoy growing this channel so I can grow a bond with each and every single one of you that happens to be into the same thing I am. Getting back on track, as I said, we're going to be talking about my love for anime and manga today. And my love for anime and manga stems back all the way since I was, a little kid. Like, I mainly watched Pokemon when I was a little kid. That was mainly the show I watched, like, every single Saturday. I was like, okay, what gym is Ash gonna go to next? What gym badge is he gonna win? What Pokemon is he gonna catch? What Pokemon's gonna evolve next? Stuff like that. Like, I was a really, really big Pokemon fan. I still am. I'll probably eventually talk about Pokemon on this channel as well. Just dedicate a whole video to Pokemon itself. But that was mainly like the only anime that I really watched back then. And then I think as I got older, I didn't really check out any other ones. Like, I knew what Naruto was, I knew what Dragon Ball was, I saw bits and pieces of Dragon Ball. Like, I think I know a good amount of Dragon Ball based on what I've seen all the time, but I can't say that I was like heavily into it. But I feel like when it came to, how my love for it like went beyond how it was when I was a kid, it was probably in high school. Like, it was definitely in like 9th grade of high school when I was a freshman, when I came across my friend CJ when he told me about Naruto. And yes, I knew what Naruto was before, I just didn't, really get into it around the time like, everybody else did. And then that was around the time where, he told me about the Akatsuki in Naruto, and that's when I got introduced to cosplay, and, a couple friends of ours used to cosplay as members from the Akatsuki. I happened to cosplay as Kakuzu, and it was really fun, for the time being when we were doing it. And then beyond that point, I started to, get into like anime a lot more. I started checking out other series, and then I started making my own YouTube channel, which is when I really started getting into YouTube fully. And that's honestly kind of like what I did. So this is kind of like a little backstory of like what I did before I started this channel. I used to, cover different kinds of like anime and manga. I used to do episode reviews and chapter reviews and discussions and theories. Like, that's what I mainly did back then. But I think, after a while, I lost that feel for it. Not saying that I lost the feel for like anime and manga, but I guess like I lost that drive that I had before. That's why I took like a 4-year break, and then I eventually got back to it again, which I'm really glad I did, because I'm definitely enjoying, putting these videos out for you guys. But I just lost that feel for it like I used to, which I'm not really sure how it happened. It just did, and I just didn't really have any motivation to really put out any content anymore, which is going to be different this time. You're not going to expect this on this channel, so don't worry. But just looking at like where I went from a Pokemon to a Naruto and stuff like that, like other series that I got into. I was a really big fan of My Hero Academia back then. I still like it. I read it on a weekly basis. I don't really watch the anime anymore, but I did like My Hero Academia. But I feel like the series that I'm like really into, that I can like sit down and talk to you about it for hours, is probably Jujutsu Kaisen, as you guys can see on my shirt. I love Jujutsu Kaisen. I love the anime. I love the manga. Even though I'm up to date with the manga, still watch the anime because it's pretty cool seeing your favorite scenes, adapted, and you're able to see, everything come to life. That's just the great thing about like, reading a manga and then seeing it get adapted into an anime, so you could just relive that moment all over again. I understand to a certain extent it might take away that feel because you already know what's happening, but to me personally, and I feel like it's probably the same mindset as other people, it's still cool just to see your favorite moments come to life again, especially if you're like a big fan of the series. But yeah, you know, I absolutely love Jujutsu Kaisen. I do plan on meeting some of the voice actors this year, which is really cool because one of the conventions I am going to this year has a lot of the actors from Jujutsu Kaisen, so I'm super stoked to meet them and get their autographs and stuff. So I just feel like overall this is going to be a really fun year for me. But yeah, big Jujutsu Kaisen fan here. You'll probably see me throw on another Jujutsu Kaisen shirt in the future, because this isn't the only one I have. I have like another one in my closet, but I didn't really want to put that one on today. But yeah, big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen. I also love Chainsaw Man as well. I mean, I am a big fan of Chainsaw Man. I loved the first season. I thought it was adapted really well. I absolutely love the manga because part 2 was a little bit different from part 1, because part 1, you know, it was really action heavy. It felt like fast paced, but with part 2, it's like more character driven, where you're taking your time to, you know, write the characters and show their inner struggles of like what they're dealing with. Like it's like more of like a character focused, you know, narrative, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like the author's, you know, actually taking the time, not saying he was doing a bad thing before, because he definitely wasn't. Part 1 was great, but you know, the author is definitely taking his time to actually, you know, sit down and figure out exactly what he wants to build up to lead to it, to like, you know, point A to B, so it makes sense. And obviously I happen to be a big fan of the narrative when it comes to the things that I watch and read, because I always love seeing how a character develops, like from the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and then all the way up to the end. I just love the journey. I'm a big fan of the journey, always loved the journey. And Chainsaw Man definitely does that, especially part 2. That's why some people didn't really like it, because of the different vibe it had, but I personally like it because, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of a narrative when we start heading down that direction with, you know, whatever the author plans to do. Like, I applaud that. That's something that I personally love and enjoy with, like, as I mentioned, you know, anything that I watch or read. So Chainsaw Man, big fan of that. I really do love ReZero. I love the story in that. I love, you know, how everything flows together so well. Super excited for the 3rd season that's going to be coming out later this year in the fall. There's other series that I read from like Weekly Shonen Jump, like Sakamoto Days, Undead Unluck, you know, series like that. I do enjoy reading on a weekly basis because, as I said, you know, I've always been interested in those series where it's like you get a group of characters, you go around, you meet other ones, you know, you get into little fights or whatever. They're mainly called like battle shonen, but I just always been a fan of the journey. That's probably why I was like so into Pokemon back then, and I still am, but that's probably where it stemmed off of, because, you know, Ash traveling around at Brock and Misty, or it was Ash, Brock, and Dawn, or it was like Ash, May, Max, and Brock, or whoever Ash is, you know, traveling with. They were always on a journey. That's probably where it stemmed off of, and that's probably why I get attached to, like, you know, these certain series that I read or these certain series that I watch because of that. Like, I definitely do believe that's the reason. But like the thing that I do enjoy the most about anime manga is like the stories that they tell. Like, it's not just a whole bunch of like, you know, cool pictures that you could, you know, look at this panel and be like, oh my god, that looks so awesome, which it is, you know, because a lot of these mangakas do a tremendous job when it comes to paneling, because some of them, you know, have people that assist them, that, you know, some write and then some draw, or some draw and some write, or for the most part, you know, some of them actually write and draw at the same time. But as I was getting into, you know, the main thing that like made me really like an anime I'm watching or a manga is the story that I'm telling. Like I mentioned a couple times in this video, the narrative. A lot of mangas or animes out there have very strong narratives that drive you in, you know, just like if you're watching a TV show or you're watching a movie, you know, you're really into the narrative, you're really into, you know, what's being told within that show you're watching, or what's being told within that, you know, chapter that you're reading from a book. You know, that's the same thing with anime manga that I really do love. And, you know, I can sit down and, like, you know, read about 5 to 6 chapters or so throughout the day of a series that I'm really into when it comes to a certain manga that I'm enjoying, because of that very reason. Like, I feel like that's mainly why I enjoy it so much, is because there's just so many different stories out there, like so many different options for you to sink your teeth into. Like, it's not just like this one thing where it's like, okay, that's it, that's all you can read, that's all you can watch. Like, there's just a whole bunch of stories out there that are being told, you know, a whole bunch of characters that you get introduced to that you fall in love with. And that's just like the really cool thing about like anime and manga, and that's probably gonna be something that I'm gonna be into forever, honestly. But I'm actually interested to see if there's like any anime and manga fans that stumble across this video. Like, is there a certain anime that you guys like that you want to talk about in the comments? Is there a certain manga that you guys love reading that you want to talk about in the comments? Or is there a story that you want to share of how you got into anime, or how you got into manga, or how you got into both, or whatever the case may be? Just let me know all those thoughts in the comments section down below. But that's all I have to really say for this video. So as always, before I forget, make sure to follow me on all my social media accounts located in the description below. My Twitter, my Instagram is right there, so make sure to follow me on there. And I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever you guys are, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, again, before I close off, before I forget again, I want to thank you guys for all the support so far. We have 11 subscribers on the channel. That's awesome. I really thank you guys for, you know, taking your time out of your day to just see me sit down here in my computer chair and just talk about the things that I like. It's just really nice to just sit down here and be myself and just talk to you guys. So again, I really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to ring the bell for notifications. Make sure to subscribe, as always, for more content on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So peace out.